Welcome to Stories Worth Hearing. I am your host, John Quick. On today's episode, I am joined by Lexie, a singer-songwriter whose music blends pop, country, and acoustic influences with a strong focus on storytelling. We talk about how she first got into music, the artists who have influenced her sound, her creative process, and the advice she would give to someone just starting out. Lexie also has a new Christmas album out now. You can check it out, buy it, or download it using the link in the podcast description. I am glad you are here. Let's get into it. Well, Lexie, welcome to the show. I'm super excited you're here. This will be fun to chat with you.
Nice to meet you.
This will be great. So we'll talk a little bit about your new Christmas album here in a little bit. But first, tell me about how did you get into music in the first place? What inspired you to kind of dip your toes in this industry? It's probably a ruthless at times industry, but you're here, you're in it. What inspired you to get involved?
It was a bit of an accident, to be honest. I was always musically inclined and I was dancing and studying theatre. And in my second year of theatre school, they basically ran an audition for a girl band and I did it and I got it. And so it was just like this surreal experience. I was at Performing Arts College. I was like gooey-eyed and 17 years old, and they moved me to London and I was thrust into the pop world completely clueless. But what an amazing experience. I mean, for like the first 6 months when I was first signed with Warner, I had absolute insomnia because I was just like, what is life? I was like, pinch me. I was ringing my mum. I was like, Mum, they're paying me, but at the minute they just told us to explore London and just hang out. And I'm like, when are they going to make us work? Like this. And it was just this most strange experience. And then, so after that, I had 2 years in a fab band. It was like a girly electro pop. And if I'm honest with myself, looking back, was it really me? Probably not. Was it an incredible experience? Good and bad. You know, I learned so much. Yes. And then I really went kind of down the independent route, which is a long and winding road, but you learn and you get this experience that helps you carry yourself into situations when you do come across big corporations again, realizing that record labels and managers, we have this idea that they can change our life with one thing. And actually you get signed and you think, this is the same as what I was doing myself. So it's a lot, of course, they have major connections, they do. And if you get a really great manager and label that's really excited about your project, then of course they can elevate you a lot. But there's a lot to be said about learning to do as much as you can on your own and being as self-sufficient as you can, because waiting for people is a pain in the ass.
So tell me about that decision. Take me back to that day where you're signed to Warner, you're in this band. It's probably touring all around, and then you decide to go independent. What was the kind of differentiating factor that made you want to go independent as opposed to keeping with a huge, ginormous record label?
At that time, it wasn't really a choice. I think the band ran its course. It was a strange time where we were actually doing really well. We were touring, we supported the Saturdays. I don't know if you guys would remember them, but we were doing some awesome, awesome things. But it was the same time that Little Mix won the X Factor, and there was a band called Stooshy that did this. It had a rude name, but it went viral because it was so shocking. And it was like, you can't compete with, back then, this is like, God, I'm going to make myself sound old, but it was like 10 years ago. But back then, you couldn't compete with the numbers you could get by going on the X Factor, if that makes sense. Little Mix came through X Factor and they were doing a similar vibe to what we'd been doing for the past 2 years. It just ran its course. And I am so grateful. We had a great experience, but I think that I wasn't myself in that environment, to be honest. And the last 10 years has been me really learning about who I am and my sound. And I know that sounds so cheesy, but I've come full circle. I've always loved soul. I've loved country. I love storytelling. You know, so many times in this industry, people will be like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And it's like, do you know what? Anything can freaking work. If that's what you enjoy and that's what you want to do. So many people, oh yeah, just do dance. Yeah, of course, I can sing on a dance record, but I don't love that music. I don't get excited to make it. I get excited to tell stories about my real heartbreaks and trials and tribulations and happy moments. Like that's where I get my joy, and that's what makes me keep doing it, is when I turn a moment in my life, especially if it's painful, into a piece of art. That's where I get my buzz. You know, I have friends where they love to sing. Their buzz is literally from singing live and riffing and high notes and killing it that way. For me, it's like I've just bled onto the page, into the song, my story. That's what I love about doing it.
So what keeps you going? Because my guess is you put a lot of time, effort, work, blood, sweat, and tears into this.
And money.
Most people give up. Most people try once or twice. And if they don't become quote unquote successful, then they just kind of go do something else. What's kept you in it and with the amount of drive that you have every day to wake up and go after this dream of yours?
I think there definitely are a few factors, like the same old badger that everyone says, you've really got to love it, stick it out. Yeah, you have got to love it. But the reality is, and ask most artists, do we love it every single day? No, it's an emotional journey. Do you know what I mean? There's some days you love, some days you can't think of anything, some days you're blocked, some days you're lazy. But in the end, I just, well, some days I think, what else would I do? What else would I do? What would it be? Like a wedding planner or something like, but also, to be honest, moving to Dubai was a game changer, because obviously I don't like to delve too much into financials. But for example, when I was living in London, I was working hella hard and I was scraping by, and I would spend every spare penny on a song, and I was trying to get mates rates so I could still pay for my car and my rent. And it was scrape, 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 scrap, scrap, scrap. In COVID, I accidentally got a gig on New Year's Eve in Dubai. After it, I just stayed. And I'm just there was nothing to go home for at that time. The weather was, and then, no one could work. We were all out of work. We were all at home. And I was like, hold on, I might as well just stay and enjoy the sunshine. And basically, in that time that I just stayed and enjoyed the sunshine, I networked my ass off. I made friends. And when Dubai opened back up again, lo and behold, I went into pretty much full-time work. And it has been life-changing. Like I've been here now on New Year's Eve, 5 years exactly, and I've just bought my second beachfront apartment. When I
Congrats.
think, thank you. No, thank you. And I don't say that to brag. I say it to show that, like, the quality of living and the opportunity here is vast. It is great. And, opportunities that, for example, if you're in America or in UK, would go to a pop star, already established pop star, shall we say. In Dubai, those opportunities go for emerging talent. And, since being here, I've been able to sing for Gucci, Sephora, Jack Daniels, Google,
Nice.
Killian in Paris. And it's like, when I think about, if I was in London, would that be me, or would that be, you know, the big stars that are already kind of big names? So that's the excitement here, is waking up and thinking anything could happen. But at the same time, obviously, I sometimes do feel a bit disconnected from the UK and America, because I know, like, obviously the music scenes there are really consolidated and it's very new here. So I do get over to the States kind of 2 or 3 times a year if I can, to just kind of enjoy Nashville, immerse myself into the scene and connect and, all the good stuff. So I try to be in both to really absorb and inspire myself with both. And sorry, all that to say, you said, what keeps me going? Obviously, sorry, I told you I'd ramble on. Obviously, the financial freedom that I have given myself since being in Dubai has made my musical journey more enjoyable. Okay. So, like, that's not to say I've got unlimited money to just go, go, go. But if I want to finish a song and I want to finish it quick, I can afford to pay my producer. You know, if I decided to make the Christmas album in 3 weeks. Obviously, I was on a bit of a budget because there was so many songs, but I had my connections here and I made it happen, you know, for a decent amount. And I was able to, you know, for example, the money wasn't a block, like, oh, I can't afford it. I was just able to do what I wanted to do. So people might say you don't need it, but I'm sorry, it really helps.
Walk me through a little bit about that process as it relates to your songs.
That is my most inspired stage, is when I've been through an experience. Obviously, I do write other times in my life as well, but when I am heartbroken, it just floods. It literally floods. And it can be in any form. Sometimes it's a title or, you know, it's something I want to say. Like, I remember, for example, last time I was in Nashville, I came and I was absolutely heartbroken and I was catching up with my girlfriend who I write with quite a lot. And I told her this whole story about this guy and she just went, Lex, it's his loss. And I went, that's today's song. And then we just went upstairs, sat by the pool with the guitars, and we wrote his loss. And it was literally, the song became the conversation with my mate. And I think that is my style. I think my skill is saying things in a way that so many women and guys, but, like, you know, so many of us experience these things and these kind of treatments and these moments in our life. And, you know, I just say them really raw and real. And people are like, yeah, that happened to me too. And I love that. I love when women reach out and they're like, oh my God, I've been through the same. That's what I get so much joy from. I mean, other times I collaborate. Other times I'm on my own. I don't have one given way that I create. I change it all the time. As I say, when I'm in Nashville, I do a lot of collaboration. When I'm in Dubai, it does tend to be kind of me coming up with an idea. Often it'll be very rough, and then I'll take it into the studio with some of my trusted guys back in the UK. So it changes every single time.
What kind of advice would you give to folks that are maybe just starting off? A lot of folks that listen to this podcast are kind of starting off into their own entrepreneurial world. Maybe it's, you know, becoming a singer songwriter or open an e-commerce store. A lot of them are on the front end of their journey. So what kind of advice would you give to folks that are starting out in the music industry and listening to this today?
Get ready to fight and to be tough and to be shoved down and to be ignored, and for all your best friends to not share your stuff or to not support until you're already famous. It's it's the tale as old as time. It's going to be no, 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 no. And you just got to be, as I say, relentless until you get that yes. And all the time in the meantime, you keep making yourself better. And this is what I say to my girlfriends, even when I'm in breakups or, you know, not to go too deep into like mental health, but I think we all have our times where we're down and we feel deflated. And then other times we're inspired and motivated. My biggest advice is, regardless of where you're at mentally, do the good stuff. Do the good stuff. And so if I'm heartbroken, I still work out, even though I feel dead inside sometimes. I remember the last breakup, I felt empty inside, but I thought, you know what? When I come out of this in 2 months' time, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be fitter. I'm going to be wiser. I'm going to have written more songs. I'm going to have done all that good stuff. And lo and behold, when you finally come out, you thank your past self for doing them positive things. And that's kind of where I'm at the minute, is my discipline has got to a level now And I'm really pleased with myself. And especially during making the Christmas album, my level of productivity and discipline has leveled up in the last couple of months. And I'm so happy because I've kind of weeded out that procrastination time and I'm just getting on with it. And actually, when you get into that state, like there's there's a vibration going on there, and you get rolling in that state and good things start to come. It's what I don't know how to explain it, but
That's awesome. So you just released a Christmas album. Talk to me a little bit about this album for folks listening in. I think you can get it on Spotify and probably everywhere you can find music. But talk to me a little bit about this album and why you know it was time for a Christmas album.
well, true classic, partly psychotic Lexie. So it was like the 5th of November. And one of my friends kind of introduced me to the AI world. And I was like, maybe I should start to play and try to get into the future because I'm really not a computer girl. I'm very much a go out there, live life, write about my stories and my experiences. I'm not one to sit down and figure things out on the laptop. But he'd kind of showed me a bit and I thought, let me mess around and make a few versions of stuff. So I actually got booked for a fabulous gig in South Africa where they wanted me to do country songs, and one of the songs they wanted was Country Roads. But I kind of got this John Denver backing track, and I was like, this is not punching for me, and it's not in my key, and even when I change the key, it's not sounding right. So I thought, right, let me play around. Anyway, my gosh, I put it into this app Suno. And I swear I made like the Super Bowl version of Country Roads.
Nice.
I was like, this is cool. And so I actually got excited and passionate to kind of immerse myself into using it more and just like really pushing the boundaries of what I could do without relying on someone else, if that makes sense. So early November, I did a version of River by Joni Mitchell, which is just a lovely song that not many people actually know, but I love. And I created this fab version. And I don't know what came over me. I just thought, oh, maybe I should just do a whole album in 3 weeks and document the whole thing. And that's what I did. I just went full turbo, made a full album in 3 weeks, all on AI, not the voices. All the voices is real recordings, real artists, but all the production is AI created. And then I just collaborated with loads of local artists, some international overseas. We've got Red on there. She's a bit of an international superstar now. She's been on tour with Andrea Bocelli. She's getting quite well known around the world. She's quite big on TikTok. Got some celebs in the UK, some local talent in Dubai. And you know what? It was just the most joyous experience. I was locked in this room for 3 weeks straight and I just had the best time of my life. People popping in, got an Italian singer on. She came round with cookies. I had my girl from Vegas. She came round. She's on a song. It was random. I don't know what made me do it, but I just did it. But now I'm so proud of the creation. Like maybe this is like, I'm not meant to say this, but I've been listening to it myself. I really like it. Because I just picked all my favorite songs and made like cool, like pop, soulful country versions of them. Some of them are more country, some of them are soulful. Like it's really eclectic. So yeah, I don't know what made me do it. I just did.
It's awesome. So
and it's out.
Let's pretend it's 10 years from now. What's your ultimate goal? What's your, what is it in your mind where you could look back and say, okay, I made it? Is there something out there that, 10 years from now, you want to be at this peak or that chart or whatever?
Yeah. World domination. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Do you know what? I just want my music to be appreciated and celebrated worldwide. And I want to be performing it worldwide. Like a lot of singers, I have to do all kinds of gigs to make my bread and butter money and keep the dream alive. And I pump the money I earn from that into the dream. But you know what? Everyone that sees me sing my original music, just like, sounds so much better when you do your original music. I just love singing my songs. I just want to sing my songs every day. And I want people to listen and care. Yeah. I'd love to be touring around, doing my originals. I want my originals in those romantic comedies. I love a good cheesy chick flick. So yeah, I'm just waiting for Colin Farrell to call and say he's going to put my song over his next movie. Or
Nice. Hey, you never know, right? Well, it's been fun chatting with you. 20 minutes here has gone by in a flash. Lexie, do you have any last minute thoughts here before we head off?
Yeah, just an apology because I talk so much. No, I guess there'll be new music coming soon as well. I mean, I've put out the Christmas album, so you're going to be rocking around the Christmas tree to that this Christmas. But I'm going to be coming with new stuff in January and onwards.
Awesome. Well, we'll put for folks listening in, a link to the music is in the podcast description. Go check it out. Go buy or download all of her music. Lexie, you're welcome back anytime. Thanks so much for coming on the show. We hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for having me.